Welcome to Youth on the Move to Make a Difference TV talk show. My name is Maddie Williams and I am your host. So we have a wonderful guest with us on today. His name is Zane Smith. He lives here in Greenville, South Carolina. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to have you.
Good to have you. Thank you. I'm just going to jump right in with the questions. So my first question is, let's talk about some of the key things parents can do to help their children's life get their life back on track. What can adults do to help other young people?
Well, I feel like nowadays, parents or adults in general aren't really in their kids' lives when it comes to their schoolwork. The kids just come home and they, the parents will ask them, do you have any homework? And if the kid says yes or no, then yeah, they'll check sometimes. But for the most part, when it involves a kid going to school, they usually just make sure the work is done, like as far as homework. But they don't really, I've seen some parents don't really pay attention as far as if the kid is studying or not.
Right.
Or even participating in school activities as well.
Absolutely. Not really involved, just kind of leave them be to themselves. And, I can say back in my day, that wasn't the case.
Not in mine either.
Mom was going to be right there until that work was done. You couldn't do anything else, nothing else until your homework was finished first. So, is it important for a father to be in the home? Let's talk about that.
Of course. A woman can raise a child, of course. However, that takes a father to come into the child's life and teach him certain things that a woman cannot teach. I don't know how deep we can get, but, some people know that my dad wasn't in my life for the whole entirety of my life. And he came back in when I was 13. So there were some things that my dad taught me when I was younger, before he was out of the picture. And there were some things my mom taught me how to do and what to say and how to act. And then, it just goes both ways. Sometimes a mom can teach a boy certain things or a female certain things, and then a father can teach certain things. So I think both should be in the life. Both
should be in their life. You are absolutely right. And it's just something about when that father figure is there, I know for myself raising, 3 young men, and of course their father was right there. It was certain situation that would arrive, and I would go handle it myself. But when the man is with me, my husband with me, it would be a different story,
Yeah.
So it is so important for that man to be there in the home with the kids, for both parents. So in this generation, are more parents not listening to their children than it was in the older generation?
Kinda. I feel like parents don't really listen as much as they should. Because sometimes I've noticed, like with my little brother, he'll come home and tell my dad something that went on in school, and my dad will just brush it off like it was nothing sometimes, and then my brother will get to the point where he feels like he's being neglected, kind of.
Right.
So, parents definitely should listen more.
Yes.
But, it's not too much different from what I was used to growing up, but it's a little bit different.
Yes, it is. It's in this generation, our parents, the parents now are much younger than the parents were in my day, and technology, gets everybody a little distracted. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it just kind of like the kids, give them their little tablets or whatever, or they'll go get on the gang, or they'll watch TV and just
set them loose.
Just let them loose. That's right. So I think they should be more in tune, with the kids. Make sure they monitor what they're watching, where they're going, who they're talking to on the telephone, and that sort of thing, and who they're hanging out with. That is very, very important. Yes. Should the church and schools have more of a positive role in the lives of the youth?
Yes, I'm a strong
I
believer
agree
of that.
with that.
I'm a strong believer in that.
Yeah.
Most people that know me know I'm not a very religious man, but I mean I can be. But from what I saw from even when I was in high school and middle school, I mean the church that I did go to during that time, they were trying to help out the youth. But I've seen some churches that I've gone to in the past where they don't really seem to show any interest in a student or child's life. Now, when I was in school, as far as the schools go, I've noticed that some teachers kind of show favoritism to some students as well. So that's not really putting a positive impact on a child's education, in my opinion. They could do a whole lot better as far as trying to tutor them a lot better, trying to be involved, and trying to get a little personal with the student to where they feel comfortable with you.
That's right. And that's one of the things that you don't want to do. You don't want to show favoritism, because that's the sort of thing you want to teach them, not to show favoritism among each other, And I think they should have a more of a positive role too. Because back in the day, the community raised the kids then. In my time, back in the day, yes, you do something wrong, the neighbor, that mother gonna get you, and then when your mom or dad come home, then they gonna get you too. But how have times changed since then? That would be wonderful now, and in some instances it still is, but near not as much, because there's so much happening with adults now. People on drugs, alcohol, and into all kinds of things. You don't want a person like that disciplining your kids. Yeah, because they're not going to discipline them properly. You hurt them, and I think that's how they got away from letting the neighborhood help raise the kids, because of that. People got into all kind of things, pornography and all kind of stuff going on. So you have to be very, very extremely careful about that. Some people be angry and they want to take it out on the child, whether it's their child or yours. So people just pull away from that, So I think that's how that changed.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Are parents getting away from properly disciplining their kids? If they're getting away from that.
They are.
Okay.
They are. Because kids are out of control nowadays. It's just sometimes I will look at kids in the middle of Walmart.
Okay. This question for you. Are parents getting away from properly disciplining their kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Because kids nowadays, they can do pretty much almost anything. And then their parents will just give them a little slap on the wrist and then tell them to go to their room. They'll take a game system away. But that's not going to work. And it's just parents are scared to discipline their kids nowadays.
Yes.
And you don't have to beat your kids. But put fear in their hearts. Put a little, not a lot, because you don't want them to be terrified of you. Right. Just put a little bit to where they act right.
Let them know that you mean business. You are the mom, and what you say, that's what it is.
Make them respect you.
Yes, right. They got to respect you. But when you pull back that rod, and then you wondering why they are spiraling out of control because you are allowing it to happen. No, the Bible says you spare a rod, the child will be spoiled. We're not talking about beating and hurting your child, but let them know I am the parent and you're going to respect me, and believe me, they will. My mom and dad did me that way. I did my boys that way, and right to this day.
And I will do my kids that way. I will do my kids that way.
That's right. And to this day, they respect me, and they always will. Of course, and their dad too, but you have to do that. You can't just let them run wild and do what they want to do, because kids don't know. They have to be trained.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like training a dog. If a dog pees on the carpet, you pop him on the butt a couple times. You don't hit them hard, just not to the point where they yell, but you pop him on the butt. And if you do that a couple times, the dog knows to not pee on the floor.
That is so right, young man. Whoa, that is great. That's wonderful. Okay, in the older generation, the neighborhood helped raise the kids. What do you think happened to that? I think we just hit on that question early about the neighborhood raising the kids, and people is in all kind of, doing all kinds of things now, and they just ain't, they's not fit to be trying to raise your kids. Yeah, and they on alcohol and drugs and all.
When I was growing up, it wasn't that bad. The world was much better. There wasn't. I think when I was growing up, I want to say there wasn't as much crime going on.
That's right.
I mean, drugs were a thing, but it wasn't something that you saw on the regular like you would see nowadays.
Like you would see now.
But I remember I used to fear my granddad's neighbors. Like if I acted up in the neighborhood and he wasn't home, they took turns.
Ooh,
I could walk from door to door. Just
wow. You are absolutely right. I remember those days, yes.
And I grew up just fine from it, too.
Fine, young man. Things would be so much better if our youth allowed God to rule in their lives. Do you think that would be, that have a,
of course,
a positive
of course.
impact?
Because, I mean, some younger kids grow up with a negative mindset.
Yeah.
And, I mean, people will tell you, I was down and out at one point. Mm-hmm. I mean, I even thought about suicide at one point. Okay. 'Cause I had a lot of stuff going on in my life. But my granddad made me get back into the church. Eventually came a point where I willingly went to church because I felt like while I was going to church and put my trust in God, that it was helping me out of that struggle. And now, I mean, I don't really stress about money like I used to. I mean, I have a place of my own that I call home. I'm engaged. But at that point in my life, and I didn't have God in my life, it was like rock bottom.
Yes.
But if you keep Him in your life, then everything will be much better than it would be if you were alone.
Much better, much easier, because He is a leader and a guider. He is. And you can talk to Him just like I'm sitting here talking to you. Yes. And He will answer. Prayer changes things. Always keep prayer in your life. Always pray.
Of course.
Okay. Let's talk about what happened when they took prayer out of schools.
Whew, that was a long time ago. I do remember it. And you know that it didn't really come to my attention that actually happened until a couple years ago. Because I remember, like, even saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Right before school would start, you would stand up in your class in elementary school and pledge allegiance. And I think, if I remember correctly, when I was in kindergarten and first grade, that it would we would pray, and then out of nowhere they just took it out of nowhere. It just took it out of the schools. That's
right. They took it out of the school. And when they took prayer out of schools, what happens when you take God out of the equation? And a lot of people, don't quite seem to understand what is going on. When you take God out of the equation, then things, you replace Him with other things. Prayer should have always been in the schools, should have stayed in the schools, because kids wanted to pray. I mean, that might have been the only time they could pray is when they were in school, I don't know a lot what was going on in the homes. And when they took the prayer out of school, I guess and kids kind of feel like, okay, ain't no big deal. The adults ain't worried about it. I mean, they don't think it's really worth anything, so it's okay with me. Yeah. A lot of kids have thought that way, feels that way. And that was just a terrible mistake. Okay, the killing that is plaguing our youth today. And you know what I believe? I believe if we can educate our youth, we can help stop the violence.
Yes.
Yes.
I strongly agree. Because I'm not a violent person, but I went and got my concealed carry permit. Because, the way the world's going nowadays, that things have just gotten crazy.
Yes.
Now, I remember when I was growing up, and my granddad would take me out and let me, shoot his gun and whatnot, as like, just fun.
Right.
He still would educate me on how dangerous a gun, a knife can be.
Right.
So I grew up with the mindset of do not play with guns.
Right.
And I feel like some of the school shooting that's going on is from kids who were not properly trained on gun control. So you like them banning guns is not gonna solve anything.
That's right.
You know, just like how marijuana is illegal, but you can go to your neighbor's house three blocks down and buy some weed.
That's right.
It's not gonna stop you from getting a gun.
It's not, no,
you have
it's
to
not.
educate the young. Make them fear that gun.
The fear and to know what the gun can do. Let them know people kill people. You know, when you pull that trigger, that gun just laying there, it's not gonna harm anybody.
Yeah, I mean, guns have safeties for a reason. You have to cock them back for a reason.
Yes.
So it's just kids are not trained on to know. Like they'll just sit like the guy that got killed on Facebook.
Yeah.
The girl in the passenger seat. I don't know if you heard about it. She was playing with the gun.
Yes.
And then the gun went off and shot him in the head.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Because what's going to happen is going to make their illegal person sell more guns. If they stop it, they're selling it legal. So the illegal person going to come, and guns going to continue to be sold. You're not going to stop that. You can't stop that. We have to educate our people, our young people.
Let them know how dangerous it is.
How dangerous it is, how it can easily, take a life. This happened long time ago. It's all on the news where this, I think the boy was no more than about maybe 11 or 12 years old, but I think his father or grandfather one had stepped out to go to the store, and there was two guys, I think, broke in the house. And he was 12 years old, but he protected himself. One of them got shot, and the other one ran. He shot one of them to save his life, because they probably was going to kill him. His daddy was, in one sense, he was happy, and in the other, he was so, because
the kid shouldn't go through that.
Yeah, shouldn't have to go through that. Yeah,
he's not even a teenager. You should not know how it feels to take somebody else's life. Nobody should have to take somebody else's life.
That's right. And they came there to do that. So, in one sense, that was good because he stopped them. They both lived, but he stopped them from harming him. So, but as adults, we must listen to the cries of our youth. We must pray for our young people. That's the thing that we must do. So we don't, I don't think we as adults pray for our young people as much as we used to pray for them.
No.
We done gotten away from it too. So I want you to look in that camera and speak into the lives of the youth and the young adults, the boys and girls, and women and men, and let them know that they don't have to kill.
You don't. You really don't. Because your actions have consequences. You pull that trigger and you kill somebody. You take that knife and you cut somebody. You may think you're not going to get caught, but there's always going to be somebody out there that's going to find you, and you will get locked away. And then when you get locked away, it will hurt your family as well. So don't do it. Think twice. Save a life.
Yes, I do agree. That's wonderful. Zane, I am so happy to have you on the show. Certainly going to have you back.
Thank you.
On Youth on the Move.
It was a pleasure.